Ready?
Ready.
This is Parshas. Where am I going? What am I doing? Where's my bag? This is Parshas Lech Lecha. Go. And what is it? Lech Lecha. Hashem spoke to Abraham and he told him, go. Lech Lecha, for yourself, or to yourself. What does that concept embody? Go for yourself. Go because it's going to be good for you. Go because you're going to see how important it is, the future. Go because this is something you do for you. And of course it's Lech Lecha. Go literally to yourself. Most of life is a journey of self-discovery, a journey of self-exploration. So we take these words to heart. And also he never said, where should I go? Why should I go? And later, Ma'aseh Avot Siman Labanim, when we were at Har Sinai, we said, Na'aseh v'nishma. First we'll do, then we'll listen. The same thing that Abraham did. And eventually, at that point, he was only called Abram. Remember there's a saying, there's certain things that change our mazel. What is it? That change our destiny, that change our fate, that change Mishaneh Makom, Mishaneh Mazal, other than Tshuva and Tefillah. So here we have in this parsha, we have Mishaneh Makom, which Abraham's going to do now, which was going to Mishaneh Mazal, and Mishaneh Shemo. You know, when somebody unfortunately is not in a good situation, they change their name. So these are the ways. And in this parsha we have both Mishaneh Makom and Mishaneh Shem. Now, of course, in this parsha we have many things happen. We have the fact we have Avram and Sarai are being tested once again. Once that he had to leave his home, another time that there was a famine, another time that Sarah was almost taken by Paro. He said, it's my sister. It was not a lie because she was actually his niece. She was his uncle. Uncles are like brothers, so he didn't speak. And he actually hid her in a valise to bring her over. And just like today, custom said, open the valise, what's in it? He said, whatever. And they said, no, open it. And there she was, and she came out. Why? Because they were worried, because the people are very corrupt. But this is interesting. Why did he say she's the sister? Because if she was a single girl, even though they would take a married girl, they didn't mind committing adultery, and they would have killed him, they would not take a sister, a girl, without her will. They didn't think it was right. The only person who could take anybody without their will was Paro. So Paro had the right to take her, so to speak. And eventually he tried, and he was punished because this was not to be. And when Avram left, he was given great riches, and Paro walked him 4 steps. For those 4 steps that he walked with Avram, he's rewarded for 400 years. We were his slaves. So even the smallest act of kindness is repaid eventually. Now then, Avram goes outside, and Hashem says, he was the first one, you know, we go back a little, Avram was the one who discovered Hashem. He saw the idols, he said, what are these? And his father went out one day, said, Avram, watch, and some lady said, I have a sacrifice for the idols. He said, really? How old are you? She said, 45. And he says, these idols are only like 4 days old. My father just built them yesterday. You're giving in. So she ran away. But he left the food, and then he said, what are these idols? He went and he destroyed them. His father comes home and says, what's going on here? You destroyed the idols. And Avram looks and says, you see that big idol over there? He did it. And he says, what are you talking about? He's only like, and he realized that he himself admitted that it's only wood or stone. But this is how people think. They're in denial. And then, of course, Hashem blesses Abraham. How does he bless him? He tells him 2 things. The world will be blessed by you, but you will be like the dust of the earth. What is the dust? Number 1, it's everywhere except in this room, because we have very good cleaners. And it's plentiful. You can't count the dust. And more than that, when dust is mixed with water, it's like, let's say, the earth, grounds, is mixed with water. That's when it can produce. That's when it creates. The same with us. Only when we're mixed with water, which is Torah, can we produce, can we create, can we grow. And later on it says that we are like the stars. What are the stars? Okay, so now you know why I'm wearing this outfit, right? We sparkle, we twinkle. And not only that, but every one of us is, show and tell, a Jewish star. Right? Okay, it's a little bit off, but whatever. So why are we like the stars? For several reasons. First of all, Hashem says, come outside and look. Just like you're outside looking at the stars, you are outside Mazel. You're not like everybody else. And the fact that we exist today proves it. First of all, Kochav is spelled Kaf, Chofav, Kof, Beis, Kochav. And what's the Gematria? The first half divided in half. 26. Kochav, 26. And for faith is 22. The alphabet is consisting of 22 letters which make up the Torah. So each of us, if we relate to Hashem, connect to Hashem, and if we learn Torah and appreciate the value of Torah, then we ourselves have that life, and our life is a life of light. All right. Also, just like the stars illuminate, so too each one of us, by our mitzvahs, by our good deeds, can illuminate. Also, some sailors they didn't have GPS then. It's probably easier. They use the stars. So just like the stars help us navigate, our teachers, our rabbis, our parents help us navigate. And sometimes, and you can only see the stars in the dark, right? There's the sense of that. So inside of us, even when the unaffiliated Jews, even when we feel depressed, assimilated in darkness, there's that pintaliyid. There's that spark within us that can always be ignited. And it says in Tehillim that Hashem gave names to every star. Every small star, no matter how small, is important. Every one of us, every Jew is important, no matter how small it is. And from our perspective, very often, the stars look insignificant. And we think, what is it? The same way we have to realize that even though we think our mitzvahs look insignificant, from their viewpoint above, they're very, very significant. So it depends where you're standing and what you think. So we have to realize that we have to reach for the stars. Nothing is impossible. That's another thing, you know. Even though when Hashem said to Abraham, come outside and count the stars, he said, what are you talking about? I can't do that. Nothing is impossible. Ein davar ha'omed lifnei haratzon. We have to look at the stars and say, we are above the stars, we are different, we can stand, we can survive. And there's one other thing. It says that that Abraham, when he left, you know, there was the war against the 4 kings and the 5 kings because Lot was captured, and they went, and Lot came and said, come. So it says that Abraham went, he won the war, and how did he win it? He took dust and he threw it up and it turned to arrows. Years later, there's a story about Gamzu Tova. He sent with diamonds to the king, and on the way he stops at an inn and someone switches it for dust. When he gets to the king, he's about to be decapitated, and all of a sudden Eliyahu says, this is that special dust that turns to arrows. So the king took it and filled him up with diamonds. On the way back again, the innkeeper sees the diamonds and he says, am I going to take it? He said, no, 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 how did you get so many? So the thief said, so the Gamzu told the thief, he says, I don't know, I filled it with dust, and they gave me all these diamonds. So of course this thief goes, presents the diamonds to the king, and is killed. Only the Jews, only we as a people, when we do the right thing, when we believe Gamzu Tova, everything is for the best, when we see that what might look like dust in our life really has a higher purpose of diamonds. So we have to remember that story. It says that the king promised him everything. At the time, Abraham, he says, I don't want to take anything from you. He didn't want anyone but Hashem to be accountable for his riches. He said, not a shoestring, not a shoe. And because he said not a shoestring, guess what? They wear tzitzis. Of course, tzitzis don't look like shoestrings, but that's another point. And shoes is, we got the mitzvah of Hebrew. And finally, at the end, it says that, why was it so important to go to Israel? Because Israel is so transformative. So we have to remember that. We can transcend our destiny. We are like the stars. We are transformative. Even the smallest person is significant. Even our smallest act. Learning Torah is like the water. It'll help us grow. This week we have our JWRP women coming. 20 women. Over 20, 25 women with their husbands.
Wow.
And their children, 45, and they're coming and they're going to see what a real Shabbos is like. And so each one of them is important. Each one of us can reach out, reach for the stars, and be that special person you can be, and go explore inside yourself, see where you're going, and see what your purpose is.
Oh, yeah.